Well, hello YouTube, it's me, Fortmaster, and welcome back to another game theory reaction. And the doors are just the beginning, and this is obviously about Roblox Doors, which, oh god, when was the last time they made a video on this? It's been a while, actually. Yeah, so I mean, quite honestly, I don't know what to really say about Roblox Doors. I've, never played it. And I mean, I will admit, at the beginning when Pat started doing theories to all these Roblox games and stuff like that, I was more confused than anything onto how they had gotten so popular. Granted, I mean, actually thinking on it, I mean, it kind of makes sense. I mean, a lot of people play Roblox, a lot of kids. And from last I checked, only more people are, using Roblox every day at this point. So, I mean, it was bound to happen. And the fact that you can get these games, like, they become so popular that you can have people working on them, like, as a full-time job. Granted, if I remember correctly, I think I remember hearing from somebody that actually, when it comes to both, content creation as in, like, like making games and the content creation as in, like, making cosmetics, I think I remember hearing that Roblox actually has like really good monetization on that front. So I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, they're doing something right. But yeah, the doors are just the beginning. Well, I mean, we're gonna have to see where this goes, because I mean, when one door closes, another one opens, so let's see where it goes. So yes, of course, as always, original video is linked in the description if you haven't seen it for some reason. Corner video will lead to my film theory reaction, and I guess with all that out of the way, let's get this thing actually started then, shall we? There it is. Yeah, to be expected, definitely.
Hello, Internet.
Oh my god. I know it's a little aside, but I just realized that the O is a door. I love that. That's a good design right there.
To Game Theory, the show that leaves no stone unturned and no door unopened. Oh.
I went through a door, though. The name of the game is Go Through Doors, and I went through a door.
Ah, yes, the smash hit Roblox game Go Through Doors. Love that one. Although, I actually think Matt had the right idea, because it is now my turn to jump into the mysterious abyss that is Roblox Doors. A game set in an abandoned hotel where to win, you have to, get this, walk through doors. I know, shocking. Though on the surface, it might sound pretty simple, things escalate pretty quickly. There's demonic entities that are trying to stop us, a homunculus made of flesh and bone known as the Figure that sabotages our only means of escape, and there's a bunch of extra rooms called the Rooms. Yeah, they like to keep their naming conventions simple here. However,
I mean, you gotta give them credit. They keep it short and sweet, and that's, how you make something memorable. And, they've done that correctly.
In the Rooms, it no longer means you have 100 doors to go through, but 1,000. It's actually quite a challenge. Fortunately, for most of this, there's a mysterious blue sparkle that is trying to help us escape. This is Guiding Light, and they offer us advice when we die, show us the path during the chase sequences, and offer us tools like the crucifix to stop entities dead in their tracks. We believed in previous theories that Guiding Light was the one manipulating the halls of the hotel into the random arrangement you encounter in each run, confusing and trapping the entities within. Sadly, though, they aren't able to help us all the time. Once you enter the Rooms, their power fades, but there is a similar yellow light entity waiting for us. They're just less helpful. We learned that this spirit is named Curious Light, although their name leaves a little to be desired,
hearing that
as they don't seem as much curious as they do aloof. They refuse to give us hints, and yet they want.
Though, I mean, I think that, Curious Light has a better ring to it than Aloof Light.
Us to keep trying. Here's a thought, maybe give me a hint and I'll do better next time. Curious Light's actions don't seem to make a lot of sense. That was until I played the latest update, known simply as the Backdoor Update. We suspected that Curious Light was actually trying to escape the Rooms, with the final door leading to a bunch of other open doors floating in a void. Other dimensions, as proven by the appearance of Bob the Skeleton, who is actually from an entirely different Roblox game, and whose name tag we can find in the Rooms. It felt like Curious Light wanted access to this room in order to escape and explore more worlds, and it seems like we were right, because in Backdoors, Curious Light is back. No longer stuck in the Rooms, and this time they are actually trying to help us. We've got a new speedrun challenge on our hands, as we've got to go from door -50 to door 0 in just 1 minute. That is not a lot of time. It's almost as if they don't want us snooping around for lore. But fear not, friends.
Wait, so I mean, I would certainly hope that you get more, there are ways to get more time, but like, 50 doors in a minute, 60 seconds. It's like literally just over a second per room. At least I think. I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, so unless I've gotten my numbers mixed up, that's like 1.2 seconds per room. So yeah, you definitely have to have something that increases that. I mean, of course they go to, it's like speed, it's like ultimate speed running.
Not, friends. Even with the dreaded time limit, I was able to uncover the secrets this little update had for us, how it connects to everything we know so far, and what it could mean for the Floor 2 update that's coming soon. So grab your vials of starlight and drink up, theorists. We're about to unlock even more door lore. That was right. That is satisfying to say. A cool detail to kick us off with is how you
Door
access
lore.
the backdoor update inside the game itself. Much like the main game, you stand in an elevator and it will take you to the first floor of your next run. In this case, door -50. However, you can't just walk straight into this new elevator. If you're new to Doors, you'll find that the back door's elevator is blocked by a barrier of yellow light. At this point, if something glows yellow, we know it has to be related to Curious Light.
I mean, a good developer does make things simpler for the stupidest of people, which, I mean, you know, color coding barriers to different characters. Yeah, I mean, that's the right thing to do.
Their yellow sparkles and death screens from the rooms. Sure enough, if you unlock the achievement completing the rooms, the first place we encounter Curious Light, and head back to the lobby, you'll find the back door's elevator is suddenly open to you. Curious Light was stuck in the rooms, but now he's been freed by us completing that final door, allowing him to escape into the hotel's version of the back rooms. That act alone seems to have given Curious Light a change of heart. In the past, Curious Light didn't seem interested in helping us escape.
I usually don't give out hints.
And yet, in this new update, they seem to be doing
Really?
exactly that. When dying from haste, the entity that comes when the timer runs out, Curious Light will say this.
I've given you a method to add more time to the clock, though. You're welcome. Look around
Well,
for the
thank
levers
you.
I placed for you. They can be anywhere.
They're referring to the levers that you find around the back doors map that add time back to your clock.
That's
Sometimes
what they're
even up to
for,
a full
okay.
minute. Without those, you literally cannot beat this new update. Plus, not only have they added a way to give you more time, but much like Guiding Light, they've also added an item to help us out. One that can regenerate our health and help us move faster. This item is called Vial of Starlight.
So
It's
that's
yellow,
what that
and the
is,
primary
okay.
symbol inside the vial is a star, which matches the sparkles we've seen from Curious Light. Curious Light has given us the only method available to beat this dang update, completely changing their attitude towards us. But why the change? Because being in the rooms felt hopeless. It was 1,000 doors. There was no way anyone could win, so why bother? They wanted to escape, but they just didn't see it happening. Until it did.
Yeah,
We
I
beat
can
the
see
rooms
that.
and let Curious Light out into the basement of the hotel. Suddenly, there was a chance. If we can do that, if we can beat 1,000 rooms, what else are we capable of? What else could we help them achieve? And so, they've perked up, realizing that we might be able to help them get what they want. And what is it they want? Well, if you do manage to get to the end of the back doors, you'll find a final door marked 0000. Proceeding through this door starts a short cutscene where the door begins to break open with a yellow light, and suddenly you are back in the hotel lobby with an empty door frame behind you, covered in yellow cracks and curious lights.
So basically what you're saying is they want freedom!
Symbol. Last time, it seemed like Curious Light wanted to access multiple realities, with all those different doors floating in the void in room A1000. But now, he seems determined to get into the main hotel. They've once again used us to open a door that they can't open themselves, and we've led it straight to their desired destination. He even leaves a bottle of Starlight, a larger version of the vials we've been collecting, as a sort of
That's good.
thank you before we enter the final door. However, while I've been suspicious of Curious Light and their motives, there was something else in this update that gave me pause. When you die, Curious Light gives you breakdowns of the entity that killed you, like they did in the rooms, but their tone
Yeah.
has once again changed. In the rooms, they didn't really have a name for anything. They just said things like,
I'm not too sure on what to call it. You could just call it A60, I don't know.
but now they're offering more
Yeah, it's
solid
real helpful on that one.
opinions.
That one. You could call it the Look Man if you like. That's what I call it.
He does have names for these things. He's actually giving you his attention, except for one specific entry. One of these new entities is called Blitz, which is a modified version of Rush from the main game. But if you die to it, Curious Light says this.
Oh, one of my favorites. She said we could call that one Blitz.
Who is
She?
We've never encountered a she before, but whoever she
Out of context, that line, I mean, I swear.
is, Curious Light seems to recognize her authority. He doesn't question her, he just tells us exactly what he's been told. No opinions, no wisecracks, just direct answers. And if this she is telling Curious Light about the entities, is she the one behind everything, pulling the strings? I've got some good news for you theorists, because I believe we know who this character is, and it all comes down to this symbol and this painting. This symbol is the binding circle that appears when using a crucifix on an entity. We've examined this before and broken down the different parts of the circle to figure out exactly what it's doing, like the Star of Solomon in the middle that became associated with the occult and demons, which makes sense when it literally traps the demonic entities we find throughout the hotel. But there's one part that we didn't talk about, the ring of symbols around the Star of Solomon. These symbols are wingdings, and if you convert that text to a normal English font and then run it through a Caesar cipher, you'll get the message, one of the 3 architects marked by celestials assists you. Given that this is on the binding circle when using a crucifix, an item that glows blue and traps the entities in a blue light, I think it's pretty safe to say that the architect it's referring to is Guiding Light.
One of the architects blessed by the celestials. Okay, that's a massive lore drop right there.
Until now, we've been referring to Guiding Light as an angelic being, due to the sword-bearing angel statue in the courtyard, as well as other religious imagery. However, we did get this tweet from one of the developers saying, the crucifix in Doors does not mean the game is going in a religious direction at all. And this translation of wingdings would certainly suggest that too, with Guiding Light not being an angel, but an otherworldly being known as an architect. But does that mean that using religious imagery to figure out the lore of this game is immediately debunked? I don't think so. Firstly, other than terminology, it feels like we were kind of on the right track with Guiding Light. We suspected Guiding Light was an angel twisting the halls of the hotel to trap the demonic entities. An architect is someone who builds and designs buildings. So Guiding Light being named an architect makes sense, as they are the one changing the building. We may not have been right about the terminology used for Guiding Light, but we ended up at a similar conclusion because we found some religious influence. And that word influence is important because what I showed you isn't the full tweet. It continues.
I noticed
it will remain mostly secular, other than inspiration, and will be all original. The developers aren't denying that they're taking inspiration from religion, just that it's not inherently a religious story. And here's the thing, we actually see this religious inspiration through the binding circle translated text. One of the 3 architects marked by celestials assists you. It implies
there's another layer above
the architects that give them power in some way. They are marked by them. These beings are referred to as celestials. This word is often used to mean something up high, and in astronomy it refers to things in space,
stars,
like the term celestial body. But celestials derive from the Latin word caelum, meaning heaven, and was originally used to refer to heavenly beings or angels. So while Guiding Light and Curious Light might not be angels themselves, we might be encountering some otherworldly beings at some point.
They're
celestials.
They're angelic. They're angelic analogs. I would say would be the proper way of describing them.
When we have a look at the painting we can find on floor 60. This floor is where we find the secret passage to the rooms, where Curious Light resides, and it's the only place where this painting appears. The image is named Space-Time, which again, seems to be referring to the spacey, otherworldly themes that we've already talked about, especially when you take a look at the symbols. The one in the center matches the yellow sparkle we've seen representing Curious Light across the various rooms and doors. It also matches the symbol found in the vials of starlight provided by Curious Light. In the top right corner, we have a blue crescent moon. Now, if the center symbol is meant to be Curious Light, then it would make sense for the blue symbol to be Guiding Light. It guides us through the hotel with a blue light, and when we use the items gifted to us by Guiding Light, like the crucifix, the symbols that banish the entities are also blue.
Which, I mean, that does make sense. I mean, at night, what does the moon do? In an otherwise dark and almost environment that's incapable to see, the moon shines. And it has its light guide you to, wherever you need to be if you're traveling during the night. I mean, there's some obvious symbolism there.
And would you look at that? At the center of the binding circle is
a moon.
A crescent moon.
Which, again, we also have all of the phases of the moon, along the edge, but I'm pretty sure that's just redundant at this point.
Same symbol that appears in the painting. This is the symbol of Guiding Light, one of the 3 architects. And with there being 3 symbols on this painting, I have a sneaking suspicion that means Curious Light is also another one of these architects. But
what's the third one? There's a red one
in this picture. In the bottom right corner, there's a red symbol that you might not be familiar with. This symbol only appears in the game when you add modifiers. Essentially, modifiers are designed to make the game more challenging, but in turn, you get higher rewards. They can do things like make the floors more slippery, give you less health at the start of the game, and make entities move faster or appear more frequently. When you activate modifiers, this red symbol appears on the screen, the same red symbol that's in the painting. Given there are no other symbols on this painting, this has to be our third
one of the 3
celestials
wingdings
told us about, the one that Curious Light is referencing when it says she.
She said we could call that one Blitz.
Suddenly, this line from Curious Light makes sense. This new architect knows Blitz's name because modifiers are literally able to change the behavior of the entities in the hotel. She has power over them. She can make them more aggressive, and what's worse, she seems to have power over the other architects. There's a mod that literally deactivates guiding light from 6 chase sequence, making that challenge much harder. If you die during the main game with modifiers active, guiding light will not appear on the death screen to help you out. And then, if you reach door 60, you will be unable to enter the rooms. It is completely blocked off to you by this mysterious red force, the same color as the force of this final architect. She is the most powerful architect we've encountered, able to control the entities within the hotel and alter the hotel itself, overriding any control guiding light has. She is so powerful that Curious Light doesn't question her or her authority. That makes her a scary force to deal with, and I have a feeling that we're going to be dealing with her a lot more in the coming updates. We've been waiting patiently for the Doors Floor 2 update, but back in October, we finally got a sneak peek of what's to come. For achieving the milestone of 4 billion visits, that's billion with a B, the developers gave us a teaser image for Floor 2, known simply as The Mines. Now, I have to say a huge congratulations to the developers. 4 billion is a...
Well, I mean, like, obviously, you know, people play the game multiple times, but I wonder, have they kept track of how many individual people have played? I want to figure this out. Okay, well, I mean, I don't know if this is total people that's played or people that are playing right now. Actually, you know, that's probably a number of people in the game right now. Yeah, I can't see anywhere. So I can't seem to find anything involving like total number of like individual people that have played. That would have been fun. That would have been fun to try to figure out the average, so to speak.
Massive achievement, and it's incredibly well deserved. But when I saw this image, I immediately started trying to figure out what it meant for the story going forward. What inspiration did the developers take to go down this mineshaft route? I did find a few hotels that have rooms in old mineshafts. One of them's even quite close to me. It's just over in Wales. But there didn't seem to be anything special about them. They just felt like gimmicks designed to trap tourists and travel vloggers with
obviously
experiences. However, now that I have the additional piece that is this new architect, I found something that not only ties into our previous theories, but gives us a little more information about what we can expect inside the mines. In our initial theories, we spoke about the main entity of Doors, the Figure, a creature made of flesh and bones which stood out against the other black, inky, or ghostly entities of the hotel. Based on the use of religious and occult imagery found in the game, like the Binding Circle, we determined the Figure was a homunculus, a version of a human being created not by natural means, but through occult alchemy. Typically, these were made by mixing
I remember that part of the episode.
And through the final door, where the Figure chases us to the elevator, we see piles of flesh throughout the level. This all led us to believe that the next update would take us deep underground, where we'd find the origins of the Figure, the place that the cult that created it originally resided. Now that we know that Floor 2 takes place in a mine, I started looking into whether there were any cults that took refuge in mines. It feels like something we see in fiction all the time, but when it came to reality, there was only one very specific answer.
Yeah, they do tend to...
Well,
I mean, like, I guess it makes sense. I mean, it's either like, you know, in the middle of the woods or in a cave or, you know, something of that description. It's because, you know, it's out of the way. Not a lot of people go there unless, you know, you're there for a specific reason. So, yeah. Then again, you also probably like a warehouse or something. Getting cults are weird.
There are groups that worship a spirit that lives in the mines. This spirit is called El Tio, and though his appearance looks like the Christian devil, El Tio is an ambivalent spirit, capable of giving both wealth and destruction. The miners would worship El Tio, building a shrine inside the mine and providing offerings to him in order to receive safety. They'd offer things like alcohol, cigarettes, coca leaves, even the blood of llamas. The miners would then light a minecart on fire full of these offerings and push the cart deep into the mines, never to be seen again. Which is interesting, as we also see a single minecart being pushed down into a deep hole in the recent teaser for the Mines update. Could this have been a hole for sacrifices? There were also specific rules you had to follow if you were going into the mines and worshipping El Tio, namely what you could or couldn't bring with you when you went in or out of the mines. Up until 2009, Bolivia was an official Catholic nation, and the majority of its residents still are Catholics today. So, unsurprisingly, worshipping a devil-like being wasn't really liked by the Catholic Church. Due to this conflict between them,
where did this come from, though? Devil-like spirits of the mines. They rule over mines simultaneously, protecting and destruction. They both in Christ and LTO. However, worship LTO is condemned strongly by the Catholic Church. Every year, is held, and costumes and statues at LTO are prepared around in a ceremony that represents his defeat at the hands of the Archangel Michael. This is the only time the images of LTO are allowed above the surface of the mines. Okay, that doesn't answer any of my questions, but okay.
Miners and the church, certain rules were followed when going in and out of the mines. Specifically, no Catholic imagery like crucifixes were allowed inside the mines, and no LTO imagery was allowed outside the mines. The outside world is God's domain, but the mines, the underground, belonged to LTO. The two were not allowed to mix, which feels very
really
similar
weird
to what we're seeing.
I wish I knew where this came
in this
from.
FaceTime painting, we see both guiding light and this new light, but they are on opposite sides of the
They're
painting.
diametrically opposed.
Diametrically opposed. They cannot coexist, which is why when you activate modifiers, guiding light can no longer help you. If you want guiding light's assistance, you have to remove the modifiers. They cannot be in the same place at the same time. Now again, we know that Doors isn't going for a directly religious story, only taking inspiration from it, and that's what I think we're seeing here. It seems to me like the mines and this new architect might at least partially be inspired by the mines of Bolivia and the cult of LTO that lies within, which means that guiding light is going to be of no use to us in this new update. We're likely not going to be able to bring our candle or our crucifix with us, and even if we are, I doubt they're going to
be
have any
really
effect,
tough.
much like we saw when we entered Curious Light's domain in the rooms. This is her domain, and guiding light is not welcome. The question is that a bad thing? LTO isn't an evil spirit. It can be good or bad depending on how you treat it. We see that in how the modifiers work. The game may get harder, but we get
you're
more
rewarded
rewards
more,
out of
yeah.
it if we succeed. So while she seems like an opposing force to Guiding Light, who is the one that has been helping us so far, this new architect isn't inherently evil or against us. They may have power over the entities we've encountered so far, but we have no idea what awaits us in the mines. And much like in the mines of Bolivia, working with her might be our only chance of surviving whatever new threat awaits us. And then, what happens when Curious
the new
Light is thrown
monsters,
into the mix?
yeah.
We freed him into the hotel after the Back Doors update, so I could see him coming down to the mines as well. He seems to get along with this new architect in some way, or at least they've been in the same place long enough for her to start bossing him around. Maybe he'll offer us some much needed assistance. That or he'll just mock us the entire time for dying. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens when the Floor 2 update finally releases. But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, so that's definitely weird. Like, LTO. I'm gonna have to do some more research into that, because I want to figure out where that belief came from. Because, like, just having, like, a local... Like, that... Like, not to tramp on, like, local beliefs, but that almost sounds like where you know how, like, in like Cthulhu mythos, you'd sometimes just have a town or something where they're worshiping, like, some god and it rewards them, or hell. I'm getting very similar things to that. That is, again, I need to find out where that came from. That's definitely it for now. So, yeah, of course, as always, original videos linked in the description if you haven't seen it for some reason. Corner video, link to my film theory reaction, and yeah, with all that out of the way, I hope you guys liked it. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.